You previously learned about good design principles. They are usually combined with best practices as you create your own designs. And this also includes very simple elements such as a form, which can be frustrating if not designed with the user experience in mind. To illustrate the importance of good form design, you will cover an example of a login form for the Little Lemon website. In this video, you will learn more about the importance of designing good forms and implement best practices to improve form design and usability. Okay, you might be thinking, form design, really? Isn't that super obvious? Not to everybody. The simple fact is that analyzing interactive forms in the context of usability and user goals helps you to create logical and user-centered solutions that all users are familiar with. Understanding the best practice recommendations of the simple elements that are available to developers and designers helps you to establish a way of thinking. Sure, the behaviors of simple forms and complex interactive components may be very different, but it's the way you think about designing and assembling them that is important. These fundamental rules are always the same. What is really helpful is to check for best practices and apply them wherever you can. Later on, you will find additional resources and a form design best practice guide that will help you with a more comprehensive breakdown of these best practices. Now, let's suppose that you've taken some of the comments and feedback on board from your previous interviews and observations. Based on the feedback you received from the users, you decide to redesign your form in HTML to test. You then ask your colleague Enzo, a more experienced UX/UI designer, if he would be prepared to voice his thoughts about the simple prototype you created in HTML. He agrees to this and signs the consent form. You have tried to improve the food ordering form. Now let's explore some of Enzo's comments and some best practice solutions that may help you improve your form. Enzo does not seem to understand what some of the questions on your form are referring to. He also mentions that the inputs are very close together, and he suggests that you space the user input fields such as text fields, password fields, checkboxes, and radio buttons. By spacing these input fields more consistently, the user can see that each field is unique and identify the labels that refer to the input. You can also implement logical grouping to make the form more understandable. The payment is separated from the address, and each row is given a subtle contrast color to differentiate. Enzo also comments that he is confused in the middle of the flow. He can't get back, and that there's no visibility of system status. He states that he has no idea whether he is close to completing the form or not. Enzo suggests that by implementing a clear path to completion with a progress indicator, users will see where they are in the flow. This means that they can even go back to review the content they entered. Only after entering all his information was Enzo informed that he had made an error, and he indicated that he did not know where he made the error on the form or what type of error it was. Enzo suggests that your form inputs should be validated during the flow of the form. This ensures that the current content that the user inserts is validated at the time of input. He also reminds you that the language should be clear and specific to whatever section of the form the user is currently in. As a UX/UI designer, you are aware that security is of the utmost importance. Nowadays, most websites require that a password consists of a mix of lowercase and capital letters, symbols, and numbers. Enzo remarked that, when compiling your forms, you assumed that users were aware of this and provided no guidance for them to compile their passwords. By not clearly stating the exact requirements, users were not aware of the problem. He suggests that you provide clear instructions with a strength indicator, giving the user immediate feedback on their choice. By asking Enzo to provide feedback on your form, you have gained valuable insight to help you make the form more accessible and easier to understand. You should now be more familiar with form design and how to use feedback to enhance your form on the Little Lemon website. In this lesson, you learned about the importance of designing clearly defined forms and implemented best practices to improve form design and usability by using a clear layout with distinguished fields and sections. And finally, by aligning your client's business goals with the user's goals to help you get closer to a successful product design. Great job!